So with summer in full swing in 2018, we're back with another beginner all-round based iSUP to get you on the water, and it's a cheaper price point iSUP at that. Now we're looking at the Ryber 11 foot, which is the bigger board in their range. We're also going to be reviewing a few of their other boards as well. But the specifications for this board: 11 foot long, 33 inches wide, 6 inches thick. The weight of the board weighs 10.4 kilograms, so it's a fairly lightweight board. And it comes with 2 indestructible mini side fins and a central slot box fin system. And it retails at £489. So Ryber have been making inflatable paddleboards for a couple of years now, and we first tested some of their iSUPs that came out 2 years ago, and we were quite impressed with the quality and the value of the boards then. So it's good to have a look at some of these boards this year. Because it's 11 foot long and 33 inches wide, opposed to some other bigger boards on the market, maybe they're 34 inches wide, it's actually not as wide as some of those. So it actually does fit quite a nice gap in the market between a sort of 10.6 by 32, which quite a lot of you are probably looking at, compared to a bigger board, obviously a 34 wide. So 11 foot by 33, it really is a nice size. It offers you a really large stable platform that a large weight of riders could get on, from probably, well, obviously super lightweight, 50 kilos or something, but really up to about 120 kilos of rider is going to be able to paddle this board. You will be able to put a little kid on the front, or a dog, or even carry quite a bit of weight as well, because there is a lot of volume. There's a large side to this board. So the board is made of an internal core of drop stitch with a fused layer of 2 layers of PVC around the outer shell, making the board airtight. It's then finished off with a 3mm EVA deck grip, which is nice and comfy. Then you've got a central carry handle wrapped in neoprene, which again is really comfy, and it's quite adequate for carrying the board sort of 300-400 meters. And looking at the back of the board, you've got your bungees at the back of the board here, which most board brands have them up near the front. So they've just done it the other way around. You can have them at the back and the front, but Ryber have just put them at the back. Then they move into the back of the board, you've got your leashing point, and you've got your inflation valve there. The board's got a recommended pressure of 18 to 20 psi, and when we paddled it and did our test, we always had it at 18 psi. Other really neat things to note are the sort of action GoPro camera mount up at the front of the board there that comes as standard with the package. That's a really nice thing. I like it when it comes with the package. You can clip it on, put your camera on, and away it goes. Very easy to use, spins around, and it also feels really secure and on the board. So it's not like something you're going to think you're going to break and lose your expensive camera. Turning the board over, it's a nice red colour underneath, and I really like the Ryber logoing with a sort of splattered paint look. It's quite funky, and it's really well finished actually, and doesn't rub off at all when we're dragging it up and down the beach, so that's a really good sign. The board itself, the shape itself, the rocker line, which is the curve from front to the back, you can see there's a small rocker line at the nose there, and then the back of the board is flat straight towards the tail, which is really what you want for the all-round paddling. A flatter board in general in the midsection is going to be much easier to paddle in a straight line, and it's going to make it easier to have more glides. It's going to have more flow across the water in that direction too. The rocker line at the front, the curve, the nose kick as it's called, that just helps the chop go underneath the nose of the board. So the board setup itself and the actual shape of it is really nice for people who are getting on the water and paddling in lots of different conditions, from real flat to slightly choppier waters. The fin it comes with is a slot box slide-in fin with a clip that's attached to the fin. A lot of other brands have got this style of fin system. It's a very easy fin system to use, and it's nice and big, so it helps you paddle in that straight line. It's not the strongest of fin systems, as in if you've got kids and stuff and dogs and running up and down standing on the board on the beach, you might want to take the fin out. But again, it's a very quick fin system to use, so definitely want to be aware of slide the fin out if you're leaving it on the beach. But apart from that, the fin's great, and it does help you, again, like I said, go in that straight line, which is what you want when you start paddleboarding. So when we put this board through our deflection test, which is where we measure the bend or the drop of the board, we pumped it up to 18 psi, and we put it on a gap of 1.5 meters apart, and we put a weight of 75 kilograms in the center, and then we measure how much the board dropped. This board dropped 22 millimeters for a 6-inch thick board. That's pretty much in the middle. It's not super stiff, and it's definitely not the bendy either, so it's adequate, and it's what you'd expect. Most of the boards are coming out at around that sort of 18 to 24 sort of drop in this size, so it's perfectly fine. When you're on the water, the board does feel really stable, and you don't notice the board flexing at all, and I definitely wouldn't say it's any flexier than other boards on the market. So let's have a look at the Riber accessories. Unlike many board brands where you buy your board and you get a paddle, you get a leash, you get a bag, all in the package, but you haven't really got much control of the quality or the construction of the paddle or how good the bag is. When you buy this, you basically just get a board, a repair kit, and a pump. The pump you get is a good quality two-way pump, so it pumps on the upstroke and the downstroke. It's a Riber branded pump, but we know it's from another really known pump brand, as in a manufacturer. These pumps have been tried and tested, and they're really well known and they're well respected in the industry. This has so it pumps on the upstroke and on the downstroke, and then you can turn the lever over when it starts to get hard, because obviously you won't be able to pull the pump up to put the air in so easy when the pressure gets up, and then it just pumps on the downstroke. As I said, this pump is sort of tried and tested. It's used with lots of other brands, and it's a really good pump that easily pumps the board up to 20 psi without a problem at all. So you get the pump, a repair kit, and the board at £489, but you have to buy the higher level of bag if you want, or the basic bag, or you can upgrade your paddle, which is quite a nice sort of system that they do. No other brands have done that, where you sort of buy the basics of the board and the pump, and then you can add your package together to make your full package. So I'll have a quick run through of the sort of stuff is available out there in the Riber, on the Riber website. Obviously Riber sell leashes. I think they're £16.95, a nice black coiled leash, completely adequate, an absolute must for paddleboarding. Do not underestimate it. Always wear a leash unless you're whitewater paddling or certain situations. There's 3 grades of paddles that are available that Riber sell, and I have to say they're all very good price points. Starting with the cheapest one, you can get a 3-piece aluminium paddle that we've used in the test. It starts at retails at £27.95, so it's really good value, and that's probably the go-to paddle for most people. That's what most people will start paddleboarding on, maybe because they don't want to commit to the sport too much and they just want to dabble and have fun in the sunshine. So that is your sort of go-to benchmark entry-level paddle. Then up from that, you have a carbon shaft 3-piece paddle again. Nice push system with a soft edge, so it's still it's like a hard wearing paddle. Relatively nice paddle shape, quite a lot of scoop there, but it's definitely more of the intermediate base paddle, I would say. Has a nice system here with a sort of lever lock system at the top. It's a nice lightweight paddle, and for £69.95, which is what it costs, it's a very good price point. Intermediate beginner paddle, I would say. If you want to this is a classic example where you could buy this board, and generally you would get this paddle in a stand-up paddleboard package online with other brands, but actually it'd be a really good time to spend a little bit extra and get that paddle, because it's a much nicer paddle, much lighter. It's going to take you way further in your paddling career. So that's a prime example of it, where it's quite nice to have that potential to upgrade on your package. And right at the top end, they have, to be honest, a very nice carbon paddle, very lightweight. It's got a locking system here with a channel groove in the centre here, doesn't twist. This is a really good shape paddle blade, and it's a very nice shaped blade. Notice how all of the paddle blades are much thinner and longer, with the sort of more, I'm going to say high performance, but they're not really high performance paddles, but generally the more carbon based paddles are much longer and thinner. Tends to load up your shoulders a bit less. You can paddle faster, do higher cadences, which you might have heard these words before we're talking about on the SUPboarder. That's sort of again, you could use that as a beginner, and you could use it up to an advanced paddler, and that retails at £139. That's very cheap and a very good price point for a paddle of that quality and weight. So again, you could be easily upgrading to make you could get yourself a basic beginner board, but it might be worth getting yourself a lightweight paddle. When it comes to paddles, and you from a beginner getting into the sport, you will notice the difference between a carbon paddle and a aluminium paddle. Even if you first time you've ever paddled before, the difference is quite notable between this and that. There's the weight, and there's also just the general paddling. Your arms probably won't be so loaded up, and it's a bit easier to use because the blades generally are much better shape on these glass and carbon based paddles like this. So just that's something to just note and be aware of. Bag wise, they also have more of a deluxe bag, which is this one here, that retails at £69, and they have a more of a traditional lightweight stuff sack style bag. This is a very tough ripstop nylon, wheels, padded, nice backpack. sort of a bit more aligned to some other really more expensive brands in the market. They've got some nice quality bags. This has got everything. You can tuck your backpack straps away, and it's really comfy, and it's worth the money, definitely, as an upgrade again, and it's well made. So that's another prime example of if you didn't want a bag. Some people don't actually need bags for iSUPs, they just put it in the back of the car. You'd be then paying for that when you didn't need it. So it's another example of building a package. So to finish off, pros and cons and value for money. Well, pros, the board shape is really great, and it definitely sits sort of in between gap in the market, that there isn't many boards at 33 wide. Really like that. And I also like the fact that you can build your package, that you can have the more expensive stuff if you want to, or you can choose to strip it back and have the board alone without the bag as well. That's a nice move, and it's definitely probably the only thing that I've seen from this brand, and not only of the brands really are doing that, so I really like that. Cons, well, definitely the bungee straps at the back are great for storing stuff. If you are getting more into step back turns or maybe surfing, you're going to have to take these bungee straps off because they will get in the way, and you're going to have to maybe wax the back of that part of the board there. Again, that's just for surfing, but you remember this is an all-round base board, so for 80% of the people it's absolutely fine, but it's something you're going to have to be aware of if you want to get into more performance-based maneuvers. Value for money, well, it's £489 board alone. It sits at a very good price point, exactly where it should in the market. I really like the fact that Ryber don't try and be anything super flashy. They just make a good quality product at the price point that it pretty much deserves. So yes, definitely value for money. So I hope you found that SUPboarder review interesting and informative, and it's helped you on those buying decisions. Yes, there is so many iSUPs out there on the market, but definitely the Ryber is a good price point board that's worth a look at for the beginner intermediate. Again, check out SUPboarder, where we've got loads of other techniques, written features, board reviews everywhere. And if you're mad keen on SUP, don't forget to check out SUPboarder Pro, which is where we do techniques and reviews and everything, but in even more detail to get you on the water improving and with the best equipment for you as possible. So check out that. But until then, we'll see you on SUPboarder Mag or on YouTube. Thanks a lot.